Good evening, good morning, good night, and hello from wherever you are. It is the Salute to Troy podcast coming to you. Big, big, big 7 weeks ahead of us. I am super excited for what we have planned for this show. We had to figure out how to get through the off season, and we figured it out, Ryan. This is going to be exciting. So if you don't know, we are going to rank all the positions in the history of USC. So wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, O-line, D-line, corners, and safeties. So there will be some that are going to lag. I will say the D-line and the corners are going to kind of lag.
Yeah.
But the safeties have some Thorpe Award winners. What we started off with, I had them flip. I have Ryan and Jamal pick, actually. And I said, which one do you want to do first? And they said receivers. And I was like, oh man, I was hoping it could have been a little bit easier. But when I went through the list, there's some names on here that people like completely forgot about. And you're like, oh, you can't forget him. There's national champions on here, first round draft picks. But here's the thing, Ryan. This is what does not matter. What they did in the NFL. We're doing it based solely off of performance at USC. That's all that matters. Solely off of performance on USC. With that being said, the Bet Online Salute to Troy podcast will rank every position in the history of USC. And this is going to be great. I can't wait to see what people have to say. I purposely, so the people who follow us and people who voted, thank you so much for voting. I purposely put those names on there just to get you to watch to see who you thought I would pick as number one. It's kind of like a bait and switch thing. The fans did vote, and the fans voted Lynn Swann as number one.
Based on the poll, yes.
Based on the poll. So I will tell you this. We're just going to roll right into it. Lynn Swann is not number one.
No, definitely not.
He's not number one. He is the OG. When you look at the list of all the old receivers and who they had in the past, there were some on there. Earl McCullough, but he was Vietnam. Yeah. Willie Brown, he's on there. But when you really look at before you were passing, Lynn Swann is pretty good, consensus All-American, but he's not. I'll put him in the middle of the list.
Yeah, he's top 10. Top 10.
Well, we're only doing 10, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he's on the list. Yeah, he's on the list.
Before we get into this, we can't leave out the tight ends. So I'm going to name 5 names. Is it 5? 4.
Okay.
I'll give you 4 names.
So we're not doing a tight end show.
Tight ends is only 4.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't think so. I'll give you 4.
Okay.
4 names: Fred Davis, Dominic Byrd, Jordan Cameron, Anthony McCoy. Rate those 4. Give me your top 1 through 4 right now.
Oh, geez. Give it to me again.
Dominic Byrd, Fred Davis, Jordan Cameron, Anthony McCoy.
I mean, probably Fred Davis won, right?
Yep.
Man, that's tough. Anthony McCoy too? Who you got? You tell me.
Fred Davis, Dominic Byrd.
Fred Davis won, yeah.
Fred Davis, Dominic Byrd, Jordan Cameron, Anthony McCoy.
Okay, there you go.
And I mean, 3 and 4, you could flip this and that, but Fred Davis had a better career, being that he did learn from Dominic Byrd too, but Fred had a better career. Fred was pretty good. Mackey Award winner.
Yeah, hey, this new Walker Lions kid they just got, he may end up being on that list.
That's what made me think that when I saw the Walker Lions, I was like, hey, I forgot about the tight ends. So do we do an 8 show with the tight ends, or do we just throw them in with the receivers? So I threw them in with the receivers. And it also comes in fullbacks. SC had a lot of good fullbacks too. I think we slide those in with the running backs.
Yeah, we'll slide those in with the running backs. I think that's fair.
All right, here we go.
Fred, there, real quick before we start. I mean, tell the people what's behind you. What's that behind you? You got to tell the people.
Oh, this right here?
Yeah.
This is the LAFB. I'll bring it in close. LAFB Fantasy Football Championship Trophy. The inaugural winner.
The inaugural winner. And you never played before, right?
I did play. I just was never good. And I got lucky with I'm still going with I got lucky with my picks.
Yeah. That's what fantasy is. It's more luck than skill.
Mm-hmm.
More luck than skill. Second of all, before we move on, happy birthday. It is your birthday.
It is my birthday.
You are working, recording a show for the great people, Trojan Nation. The man does not sleep. He does not take a day off. He's out here putting stuff out for you guys. So happy birthday, my man. I wish we were together in person, but we'll have a drink together soon. So
yeah, let's do that.
The day's been good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, are you ready to get this started?
Let's go. Let's get it.
All right. I will tell you this. So I'll start with this. I'll give you my whole list. Oh, Ryan, since you mentioned birthday, I got an email today from Bet Online. Bet Online, actually, this is how great they are. Sent me a birthday promo code because I actually bet with them. I did very well with the horses, won $123 just to let you know. So they do have horse racing. Yep. I took took Art Collector in the Pegasus World Cup, and he pulled through win, place, and show 10-1 long shot opening line. That's why I went with Bet Online. I used the promo code after I spelled it right, BLEAV, to receive my 50% bonus. They have everything. They have sportsbook, they have casinos, they have soccer, they have golf, horse racing, they have whatever you need to go there. Super Bowl's coming up. They also have Pro Bowl props on there. So if you want to do a Pro Bowl pop this weekend, you can go ahead and do that. That's betonline.ag. That is promo code BLEAV to get a 50% match bonus. So that's cool. I saw that. I was like, oh, nice. So on your birthday, they also give you a promo. So that worked.
That's fantastic. Well,
yep.
Good for you. Betting the ponies. I love it. Here in California, that's all we can legally bet on. And you went to the Bet Online and you bet on it still there.
Yep.
Good for you.
Yep. And actually, we'll have a how to get sports betting in a California conversation off air one day. It's really easy because FanDuel already owns TVG, so they could get in. They just have to do it the right way. Anyway, that
is a fun conversation. All right, we'll have that different day.
Yeah. All right. So I'll give you everybody on my list.
Okay.
No particular order, right? Steve Smith, Nelson Aguilar, Johnny Morton.
Yep.
Keyshawn Johnson.
Yep.
Michael Pittman Jr., Mike Williams, Lynn Swann, RJ Soward, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yep.
Kerry Colbert.
Yep.
Kareem Kelly, Dwayne Jarrett, and Drake London.
Ooh, I like it. No trees, huh?
What do you mean?
Bobby Trees? No Robert Woods.
Oh, Robert Woods. I knew I was missing one. Robert Woods, too.
It's hard, man. Wide receiver you.
And don't forget John Johnson.
John Johnson, yeah. Did you say Marquise Lee? Did you say Marquise Lee?
Marquise Lee also.
Oh, you didn't even say Marquise Lee?
Nope, I forgot him.
Oh, he's the all-time yards leader. Can't forget Marquise Lee.
Marquise Lee.
It's tough. How are you
get
this?
And then, okay, I will make it easy for you. I'll tell you right now. Keyshawn Johnson, Marquise Lee, and Mike Williams are in the top 3. So you don't have to worry about where we're going to place those guys and all that on the list. Those guys are top 3.
Yep.
All right. My number 10 all-time receiver at USC. And this one was hard. And it was either did he make the list or did he not make the list? But number 10 all-time receiver is Johnny Morton.
Johnny Morton, okay.
I will say this. Johnny Morton All right, so everybody sees the football now as pass, pass, pass. Johnny Morton played in an era where pass was a third down thing, right? Or pass was a throw you off your concept thing. Man, what he did in his era that he played, and for him to be drafted in the top 3 in the NFL at that time, that says numbers. So, like, Johnny Morton is like number 10. Boom. There you go.
When in that era, and he still finished second all time in receiving yards in USC history. So that's impressive. It's pretty impressive.
So number 10. And this is a list. I will say this disclaimer. This is a list that is a presidential list. You cannot make anybody happy.
No, definitely not.
This is a list that has what? 3 national champions on it?
Yes.
3 national champions on it.
Yeah, I think so.
Number 9 is actually a national champion to me. Well, he is a national champion. Number 9, Dwayne Jarrett.
Yep, I like Dwayne.
Dwayne Jarrett is number 9. He was a big body, just like Mike Williams. That's when Coach Carroll found his system, and you played his system, and everything was repetitive. I can tell you this: Mike Williams, Dwayne Jarrett, Patrick Turner, right? 3 same type of receivers. I played safety under Coach Carroll. I was a big safety like Darnell Bing, Taylor Mays. We were all big guys, like everything. They had a mode. They stuck to it. That's what they did. That wide receiver, that X split out, whatever you call it, wanted to call it. That's what was Pete Carroll's mode for that receiver. Dwayne Jarrett was that guy, but Dwayne Jarrett wasn't as good as Mike Williams.
Mm-hmm.
But he was still really good. And I'm not going to take anything from him. All-American, national champion. He played on the field at the same time as Mike Williams, and he benefited from that, right? But I think his production went down when Mike Williams left, which is not as hard because he wasn't as fat. He was a big body that could catch really well, and that's always, so.
It's if we go back and look at history, Alfred, and really go through, and I know right now is like this huge era of like all these great receivers playing together at Alabama, and Ohio State, and USC. But that you could argue could go down as one of the greatest duos of all time in Mike Williams and Dwayne Jarrett. Like they were damn good together.
What about greatest court? That whole receiving court is gonna make this list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so yeah. Number 8 on my list. This guy,
real quick. Sorry to cut you off. Are you giving your 10 and then me, or do you just want me to? Because I don't need to list my whole 10. I can just chime in on yours.
Right, you can, and you could also disagree and say I wouldn't have him there. I will put him there.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
number 8. We're on number 8 on my list is a Long Beach Poly guy. Might have been a little biased here. Really fast, blazer, caught everything. I think he was a faster Kerry Colbert, little better hands, but he didn't make a lot of big plays, but he made, how do I say this? He made big catches possession wise, but he didn't make a lot of outstanding plays, I guess you would say. But he was somebody you had to worry about. And number 8 for me is Kareem Kelly. And there might be some poly bias, but that dude was a blazer, and that dude was able to catch, and he caught everything that you threw at him. And there was times where you needed a big possession, and Kareem Kelly was able to make that big possession.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I mean, dude showed what he was capable of, and anytime you play, stay close to home and you add value there. And yeah, I think Kareem Kelly's great.
Yep. All right. So we're going on to number 7?
Number 7.
All right. So number 7. This is going to start to get hard now. This is where it starts to get, this
Taking 10 is hard.
Yeah. So this is where it starts to get hard. Okay. So Number seven. Started the trend for the slot receiver at USC.
Yep, I know where you're going with this.
He started the trend for the slot receiver at USC, and he was really good. He's also a national champion. He was on probably one of the greatest receiving corps in USC history. He was a solid pro too. Decent career in the pro, but that has nothing to do with it. But what he did at USC, I think he set the tone for the receiver below him, which, man, they could be really close together. But what he did at SC was outstanding. Everybody knows his name. He's a legend. So I'm going to go Kerry Colbert here.
Yeah. Then became the receiver coach.
Yep.
Under Clay Helton. Obviously, no one has a good taste about the Clay Helton era, but Kerry Colbert was one of the good things, I think, of that era. And special receiver. I mean, the dude was special. Obviously, he was a coach on the field, which is why he's a coach now, right? Like, if you,
yes,
it's rare when you see guys. I don't want to say rare, but it's not common that guys can be super talented and successful and be good at teaching and coaching at the same time. Usually it's the opposite, right? Like, if you can't play, coach kind of thing.
Right.
And he could do both. I mean, he goes down as top 7, I think, all time in receiving yards. And then now he's a great coach. And where's he at now? Because I know he's obviously not with USC once Clay Helton was fired. Is he in Florida?
I think so. And I know one time he was even in the league for a little bit. Because you know where he benefited from? He's at Florida.
He's at Florida. Cool. There you go.
Kerry Colbert benefited from.
Yeah, he played at Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. But his coach was Keenan McCardell.
Yeah.
Either his coach was Keenan McCardell or he played with Keenan McCardell. But Keenan McCardell is another one of those players that turn into coaches. Mm-hmm. That's really good. And he's like one of the top receiving coaches in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll probably be a head coach one day.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good to see. All right. Moving forward. Number 6.
I think what I'm going to do is I'll add analysis to what you say, and then when it's done, I'll say if you missed anyone. Because I don't know who you're going to have. I don't want to jump the gun and say, oh, you should have had this guy here if you have him higher. So.
All right. Well, 6 for me. For me, he's a hometown kid. He played his professional career in his hometown. I think he was a solid receiver, and I think he made a lot of plays at USC. I think he was the anchor to a very bad program, and he was somebody who was a good product that made people want to go watch USC football. And him being from home, playing at USC, him being from LA and playing at USC, and then being from LA, playing his pro career in LA and being productive in LA is also a plus. But I like what he did. And then when you look at like the stats, they're very close to like all these guys on here. But you can't go with a list without putting him on here. And I think number 6 is Robert Woods.
Trees.
I think Robert Woods is number 6. Some people might say that's too high on the list, but this is why I say he's 6. Like I said, he was an anchor to a bad product. Yep. Like, they weren't very good when he was there. So, like, for people who want to go see Robert Woods, and that was what put butts in the seat. Like, so that's why I have him at 6 as mine. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I definitely don't disagree on him top 10. I'm trying to think if I would have him 6. I love Trees. He's one of my favorite players. I love that he's, was with the Rams for at least their run, and obviously hate that he got injured last year during their Super Bowl, winning season. We have a shirt at LAFB with Bobby Trees and YG at the classic game at the Collie against Minnesota. I was at that game. I not grew up, but when I went to Long Beach in college and watching him play for USC. So definitely top 10. I think you hit the nail on the head, like what he meant to the program at a time when the program wasn't great. And when you can put up numbers and have that success when you don't have the success around you, especially at receiver, which I don't know if you would argue this, but I played receiver, so I'm biased. I think receiver is the position that is the most dependent on other positions, particularly the quarterback, but also running game and all that. Like
I can say that's true.
You can be a great receiver, and if you don't get the ball, no one knows.
Right.
And so the fact that they didn't have great team output and he still did that, I think he's definitely worthy of this list.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. We're at number 5. We're at the halfway point. But before we get moving, Ryan, I wanted to let you know that I wanted to do something other than eat junk food for breakfast or miss breakfast or
it's your birthday. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, but I'm talking about any other days or eat donuts at the office for breakfast. So I wanted to find something that I could grab on the go that could help me and still give me all the nutrients and vitamins I need. So I decided to go with Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens is a great lifestyle, has over 75 vitamins and minerals. Athletic Greens has 7,000 5-star reviews. It's a company that is climate neutral certified. It gets me through my day with energy, full of vitamin D. Right now is the time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with the convenient daily nutrition of Athletic Greens. If you want to try Athletic Greens, to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you 1 free year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Salute to Troy. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Salute to Troy to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. AG. Go get some Athletic Greens. It's really, and it tastes good too.
Yeah.
That's the one part that's most important. Doesn't taste like most diet food. So
AG is the OG, right?
Yes, sir. All right, we're at 5. Now it's hard.
It's not easy.
It's not. It's definitely not easy. All right, number 5 is the OG, Super Bowl champion, consensus All-American, governor, mayor, politician, athletic director. He played when SC was rolling. So it was crazy because as soon as he left, they kind of went on the down years. But everybody knows who he is. He got a shot to run the program and saw it wasn't as easy as he thought it was. But what he did statistically during that era can't be beat. Went on to play with our man, I can't even remember his name, Terry Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw.
He won some Super Bowls. If you don't know who he is already, we're going to put him dead in the middle. Lynn Swann. Lynn Swann was a ballerina. Yeah. Is that what you call male ballerinas? He did ballet.
Male ballerinas? Is that what you said?
Yeah, he did ballet. So that's why he was able to make the catches he made in the air. Like he was able to contort his body in unusual situations to make catches. But again, a running era receiver who made big yards, big plays, went on to have a great career at USC. I will go to say Lynn Swann put USC receivers on the map.
Yeah.
I think he was like the first one. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because you're absolutely right. Because up until that point, it was like running back you. I mean, it was all the great running backs the USC has seen through time, and Lynn Swann was like the first really of these great receivers. And I mean, there was other good ones as well, but he was like the first one that like nationally renowned. Lynn Swann, he had the charisma. He fit the bill of a USC football player. And obviously we saw that after his career going into broadcasting and everything he did with that. So Yeah, I would have Swan right around between 4 and 6 is where I put him on my list. It just statistically is not quite as high as some of the other guys, but what he did for the program, how good he was at receiver, the fact that he took ballet, that's a great question you posed, Fred. Like, is there a name for a male ballerina? Is it ballerina? Or is it like ballerino? Maybe
I don't
Spanish.
I don't know.
Ballerino. We'll go with the Spanish term.
I've been thinking about that like all week.
You were worried to say on the show. You're like, is there? I got to say it right.
I was just curious. Like,
my daughter's going to start ballet classes in a few weeks. So I'll ask the instructor.
What are male ballerinas called if male dancers are ballerinas? A male dancer is called a danseur or a principal dancer.
So ballerinas and principal dancers? That's kind of boring.
Sure.
So Lynn Swan, a principal dancer of his era. There you go.
I always wanted. That was interesting. Okay.
Good to know. Learn something new. Look at that. Live and in person.
I almost clicked the live button.
F it. Why not?
I almost clicked the live button. We are getting viewers though. I appreciate all you guys are viewing. I love your comments. Sometimes I want to respond to them, but I know I can't. But thank you guys, everybody.
You always respond to them. Why not?
Okay. All right, good. I want to respond to the cat who think that Gentry could be a safety.
Someone said Gentry could be a safety.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to respond.
All right.
I mean, Lynn Swan maybe could have been a safety.
Yeah.
Gentry
will fall as soon as he. All right. Moving forward, we're to number 4.
Number 4.
All right. This guy was electric. This guy gave Mad Dog nightmares before he was a true USC fan. This guy ran all up and down the Coliseum. This guy ran all up and down the Rose Bowl. This guy played on the team when it was the bad years, and he was still electric. That's why we know his name. My number 4 receiver for USC of all time, R.J. Sauer.
Nice.
Explosive.
Talk to the people, because I bet a lot of people listening to the show don't even know who the hell R.J. Sauer is.
R.J. Sauer, when SC was bad, upset UCLA when I think UCLA was like, maybe, I don't think they were ranked, but UCLA was supposed to smash them, and R.J. Sauer just blew the top off the Coliseum. R.J. Sauer was fast. R.J. Sauer was, every time you put the ball in R.J. Sauer's hands, you held your breath. True. I'll put it like, here's a good example if you don't know who R.J. Sauer is. He was a Deshaun Jackson before we knew about Deshaun Jackson. Best comparison.
Yep. Explosive.
That's R.J. Sauer. So, my number 4 is R.J. Sauer.
Yeah, he was a true like Swiss Army knife.
Yeah,
he just kind of do it all, and yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he was this good, but I liken him to, and this is gonna sound like a crazy comparison. I'm not trying to compare them at all, but it was similar vibes as when 6 years later when Reggie Bush would get the ball. It's just like,
yes,
what's gonna happen?
Yes,
what's gonna happen?
Yes,
similar vibes.
No lie. That is a very true comparison. That was like, you're right. You put the ball in 2 hands, you're like,
yeah,
okay.
Popcorn, let's go.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Bright spot. So yeah, that's great. I don't know if I'd have him 4, but yeah, fantastic. Love him.
Where would you put him?
I'd probably have him more in the 7 to 8 range.
Okay.
For sure top 10, but I mean, no disrespect. I mean, I think 4 is fine too, but you'll see. When we get to the end, there's a few guys I have in mind that you did not have, so I'll tell you why.
All right.
We got to get to the top 3, which I think we both will agree wholeheartedly on the top 3. So
yeah, but so where do we put him in the top 3? Let's have this debate. Let's have the conversation.
Okay. You
All
want
right.
to start at 3 or 1?
Let's just rank them 1, 2, 3. So
Okay.
let's see if we agree.
Okay.
Keyshawn Johnson
Is 1 or 3?
No, this is just the top 3.
Okay. Yeah.
No particular order. Keyshawn Johnson, Marquise Lee, Mike Williams.
Yep. Yeah. That's my top 3.
All right. So I'm gonna tell you my top 3. I'll tell you 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. Go.
Williams, Lee, Johnson.
I have the exact same. Williams, Lee, Johnson.
Williams, Lee, Johnson. Okay. Yep. I will tell you Mike Williams because Mike Williams was the leader of probably the best wide receiver core. Everybody on his wide receiver core has made this list.
Yep.
Right. So there's people on this wide receiver core that they all went pro. Well, Mike Williams could have went pro, but he got greedy.
Well, let's just say that if he came back for when he was supposed to, he probably could be 2 or 1.
Right.
On this list.
No doubt. Well, I think he would have shattered a lot of records. Like he would have been. Could he have got his jersey in the end zone?
I damn well think he could have. Yeah, absolutely.
Think about how much Dwayne Jarrett could have benefited off of Mike Williams coming back for one more year.
Yeah.
Right? Because Pete would have not been able to talk him back to come back for that Texas year, but he would have for sure been there for the Oklahoma year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
when the offense was humming.
Yeah.
And if they added him to it, nasty.
Right. So that's why he's 3. Number 2, Marquise Lee, right? So and it's very similar to, I mean, you start most receiving yards ever in USC history and look at this list. And there's people I missed. And I do have some honorable mentions, and some people you probably put on this list, but to be the all-time receiving leader at USC, and he was there down years, right? He was also there Rose Bowl year, right? He was on the team the year they won the Rose Bowl. I could be wrong.
I think, I'll check while you're talking. I feel like he left right before that.
Right, but like for you to be a product, right? And I always say this when we talk about the show, it's about the product that you put on the field, and the product that he brought to USC. He understood the culture. Another hometown kid. Like, I respect kids who stay home, especially at USC, and play football at USC, especially with all the backdoor out-of-state recruiting that's going on, to resist temptation. And he stayed. I think he went to 3 quarterbacks too, and I could be wrong, or he probably just had Sam. But at the end of the day, like, he went through culture changes, withstood the storm, put up yards, great route runner, fast. I just hate the fact he went to Sarah. I'm not a fan of Catholic school kids because those guys cheat. But man, anytime you're in the record book at USC for something like that, you got every person who ever comes they will always be chasing you, right? So that's legendary. Like, they'll always be chasing Marquise Lee. That's what put him at number 2.
Yeah, when he was there in like the Lane Kiffin years, there was a lot of turmoil and controversy, or at least the beginning of his career as Lane Kiffin, and then Eddie O took over, and then you had Sark take over. So he had 3 different coaches, and then he had Matt Barkley, who obviously was a great quarterback collegiately, but also finished 4th in Heisman voting. Anytime you're a receiver and finish that high in Heisman voting, that's insane. So yeah, Marquise Lee, no brainer, top 3. I think number 2 is a very fair spot.
What did my man say what did the GM say from the Bills about the Bengals? They had a lot of lean years to get where they are, and we don't want to have any lean years. You gotta have a lot of lean years to get Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase on your roster. That was probably the truest thing I ever heard.
Hey, before we move to number 1, really, really quick, why do you think Marquise Lee never panned out in the NFL? Do you think it's just bad situation in Jacksonville? Never had a good coach or quarterback when he was there? I'm shocked he was like, I never like calling guys bust. Like, these guys work their ass off. I think that's an unfair word, but it's shocking how good he was in college and just never had the success in the pros.
I think he just peaked. There's a lot of people that peak at different times.
Yeah.
there's more people that peak in high school. You'd be like, dang, he never panned out to anything in college. You know what I mean? Like I think he just peaked in college. Or who was this quarterback in Jacksonville?
Like Blake Bortles.
But was he on the team that also made that run that one year?
I think so.
With Jalen Ramsey?
I think so. Like 6 years ago. I think he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my thing. I think, as I said before, receiver is, and I don't disagree with you, but receiver is so dependent on your quarterback and your coaching situation that I think he just never. I don't think he ever would have lived up to what he did in college. How great he was at USC. Just his body size. I think I agree with you. He maybe peaked a little bit. But I think he could have still had a very good pro career. And you look at guys like Robert Woods, who when he was in Buffalo was seen as a bust. I mean, he was a second-round pick in Buffalo, never had more than like 300 yards receiving in the 2 or 3 years he was there. Comes to LA and he blows up and he's great in LA. And everyone remembers like, oh shit, this guy's actually like really good. I think Marquise Lee, if he could have gotten out of Jacksonville and gone somewhere with a good coach or some stability, a good quarterback, he could have definitely had a much better career. So we see a lot of receivers go to die on bad teams, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I played receiver. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm not taking anything away from either. The NFL's hard, man. That's the one thing that the NFL was very, very hard. It is the best at when I was coaching college, I used to always say the worst NFL player is still better than you. Like that's the part that you don't understand. Like like the worst NFL player is still better than you. I said the average NFL player is 3 times better than you. So how good do you think the superstars are?
Yeah.
And then that's what when I was coaching high school, I had to tell kids that like the worst person who's on scholarship in college, like we're not talking walk-ons. The worst person who's on scholarship in college is still better than you right now. What are you going to do to be better than him? Like, I don't think people understand how good people really are in the NFL.
Yeah.
And
when you have those bad NFL teams that everyone's like, oh, Alabama could beat this team. It's like, no, they get their doors blown off by that. That 0-6 Lions team would win by 20.
Yep. Because those are all still pro athletes. Like the 22 starters on Alabama did not get drafted in the first 22 spots.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't even get drafted in all the spots. Let's be realistic. But yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I digress. All right. Number 1.
That was our little tangent. Marquise Lee, great athlete. Don't take anything from you. We wish you would have had a better pro career. Sometimes being on a team that has lean years put you in a bad situation. Sometimes it works. Cincinnati. Anyway, number 1 receiver of all time. You can't take anything away from this man. This man set the standard for a receiver at USC. He was the face of USC. Everybody understands who he is. Everybody knows where he went to school. Hometown kid, number 1 draft pick. He actually played when SC was not that great.
Mm-hmm.
He played 96, 97. Like SC was not that good then. And people don't understand that. But they knew he went to school there and he was still good. Number 1 receiver all time at the University of Southern California, Keyshawn Johnson.
Keyshawn, yeah. No doubt. Keyshawn was great. Not even, obviously, this is not about their pro career, it's about their college career, but anytime you are a wide receiver and you are the number 1 overall pick, it's a rarity that happens. He's not the only one, is he? There's not many. If he's not the only one, there's not many. And so that speaks for itself and how dominant he was and kept USC relevant during those 2 not so great years. And no doubt. Number 1, Keyshawn Johnson.
Who was Keyshawn Johnson's quarterback? Anybody? Well, they're gonna be able to Google it now. But off the top of your head right now, who is Keyshawn Johnson's quarterback? Who is his running back? And name 1 person off his offensive line. Right now. That's for the comments. Who's his quarterback? Who is his running back? And name somebody off the offensive line right now. Just do it. Type it in there. Right?
Type
you know what I mean?
Don't look it up. Type it in.
Right. So all we know is Keyshawn Johnson off that team. He's the number one quarterback. I will tell you.
I tell you, Todd Marinovich was before Keyshawn Johnson, so
Yes.
it's not Todd Marinovich.
Honorable mention: Steve Smith, Nelson Aguilar, Juju Smith-Schuster, Drake London, Michael Pittman Jr. Those are my honorable mention. Yep. I wanted to put them on, but I just didn't see where they went.
Yeah, so my big one that I don't even know who I'd swap out. You can force me to if you want to, but I'll just say who I would put in. And I know it's recency bias, but I don't care. I would put Drake London in the top 10 just because of how dominant he was. And I know statistically he doesn't finish top 20 because of, how he got hurt and obviously his freshman year playing with the great receivers he played with. But here's why I'd have him in the top 10. One, his freshman year playing with Michael Pittman Jr., Tyler Vaughns, who's top 10 all-time in receiving yards, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So all three of those guys are top 20 all-time receiving yards. And ask any of those three plus the coaching staff, and they all tell you, and I'm not making this up, I'm quoting, that Drake London was the most talented by far of all of them. So that's one. And he had 500-plus receiving yards in his freshman year with those three guys in front of him, with Keaton Slovis throwing him the football. Number two, in his final year at USC, when the USC offense was abysmal, Keaton Slovis had lost his magic. Clay Helton was calling piss-poor games. The offense was literally Drake London. That was it. There was no running game to speak of until after he got injured. Then Keontae Ingram kind of came on. The defense knew exactly what was coming. It was 10 to 15 jump balls a game, and Drake London could still beat double and triple coverages to get the job done, and only played 8 games, getting injured in the middle of October, and still led the Pac-12 in receiving out of every receiver. So for all that, and I just love Drake London. That's why I have him top 10.
No, and you know what? When we did the live draft show and Drake London got drafted, I was like, I'm all for it. He's big. I'm for Drake London. Here's my only question, and this was a lot. This was like the main questions I had, right? Will your grandkids know who he is? So that's what led to a lot of it, right? Will your grandkids know who he is? Like, all right, are my grandkids going to know Keyshawn Johnson is the USC receiver standard, right? You know what I mean? And all the other ones you have to go through it like so. And it was tough because like how deep you get into it, right? Your grandkids are going to know every single person that ever went through any LA football team because how you are, right? So that's a little disadvantage compared to me. Like, I'm not so much of a, and I tell you guys this all the time, and I'm not so much of a stat geek or like a name person. So if I know who you are, you're really good. Right? So I knew who Drake London was, and I was like, man, he was good, but it was like,
yeah.
And then this is where I also did with Drake London. I compared Drake London with Dwayne Jarrett and Mike Williams.
Yeah. Because of size and speed.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that because I think he is a little bit different from Dwayne Jarrett and Mike Williams. But I kind of.
So if we do that, I would put London above Jarrett. Not above Mike Williams, but I put him above Jarrett.
I maybe a little teammate bias because I did play with DJ. Maybe
That's
a little.
Fair. That's fair.
But when you really think about it, he might be in a different category. Drake London and Kyle Ford might be in a different category from Mike Williams and Dwayne Jarrett. Because I think they're bigger and faster and run different routes.
Yeah. Yeah, you know I agree. Yeah. And the offense is completely different. Like, right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's what got it. And I was really close on putting Michael Pittman Jr. in. Steve Smith, it came down, who's better, Steve Smith or Kerry Colbert? Yeah. And then it came down like Steve Smith, Kerry Colbert, Kareem Kelly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of them. Nelson Aguilar is like, Nelson, he did a lot of good things on like some down years, but who's better?
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, Juju A lot of fun stuff. Yeah.
So doesn't take anything away from those people that didn't make the list. They're still great. If we did a 20, they all make it without a problem. What else do you have?
I think, let me make sure I'm not missing anyone. No, I think we had, you had Johnny Morton on there, right?
I did.
Yeah. So, yeah, we got them all.
Yeah. John Johnson, he was good, but I mean, he got bypassed with the way the game changed and things like that. Like, we don't know who he is.
Where do you put Amon-Ra?
Oh man.
Because Amon-Ra, here's what I'll say about Amon-Ra, which is intriguing.
Here's also what I would say before you say that, though. They played with Graham Harrell, and they were throwing the ball 50, 60 times a game.
Yes, 100%.
So,
100%. The thing I was going to say about him was what is intriguing about Amon-Ra is his body type, his build, his speed, his athleticism was so different than a traditional SC receiver. I mean, he's a smaller slot guy. Obviously, there's a few guys on the list that kind of transcended the slot position like you talked about, but he's not your Mike Williams, Dwayne Jarrett, Keyshawn Johnson, Drake London, Kerry Colbert, any of those guys. He's like a very different build. He's, I guess, like Juju, similar to like a Juju build.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't put him top 10 I know we're talking about, but yeah, but I like Amon-Ra, and it's fun to see how successful he's doing in the NFL.
Are you asking as far as like, does he make a top 20, top 15? I don't think he makes top 15. He might make top 20 because we have one.
He's top 20 in yards, but
yeah, he makes top 20.
Top 20, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Tyler Vaughn makes top 20. Like, there's guys who make top 20. It's just
and this just shows, Alfred, how I hate bashing on coaches because I know how hard it is, and I don't coach. You coach. I don't. I'll admit it. So I never want to bash and talk badly, but it just shows that with all the lack of recruiting that Clay Helton did, the fact that he had Michael Pittman Jr., Tyler Vaughns, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Drake London on the same team, and they couldn't win 8 games, like, it's insane to me. Like, four of the top 20 receivers all time in USC history on the same team, and no one would know it because USC was so bad during those years.
Well, you think we're hard on Alex Grit. Good thing Todd Orlando isn't the DC because Todd Orlando was awful.
Yeah.
Like, there was Helton was bad. He was a bad head coach. I think at one point Sark was turning the corner as far as the team. I really do. And I think his situation like made him like backslide, which was unfortunate. Todd Helton was bad. I will say it. Like for you to have that talent that you say that you have, we should know who those people are.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know more about Kyle Ford probably because I paid attention to more SC football, but like, I know more. Like, here's a good one. Do you know who Darius Rogers is?
I do, but not well. Yeah.
Darius Rogers should be Dwayne Jarrett, Mike Williams.
Yeah.
Big body, great hands, can run the catch, go, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's people in this. Oh, that's a story for another day. We're going to go off on a tangent. We're talking about the fact that, let's try this one. The fact that we named 16, 17 receivers and only had 10, and we won't be able to make everyone happy, and we're just on receivers. Just wait until we get to quarterbacks. Ooh. Quarterbacks is harder. I don't care what you say. Quarterbacks is harder. Running backs is a debate.
Yeah.
Linebackers is a debate.
Ooh.
Safeties is a debate. Like, so we're just getting started. We D-line, and so okay. So here's the question, and we'll have let's have the fans comment on this. For D-line, do we put Willie McGinnis in the D-line category, or do we put him in the linebacker category?
I want to hear from them. I would say linebacker, but we'll let the fans decide.
Yeah, we'll let them pick, and we'll put him in that category. But you got to remember, too.
But he wore 5'5", right? It's got to be a back. He's in the 5'5" club.
Yeah, also Claiborne, Junior Seau. So if you want to see Willie McGinnis at the top of the list, you have to know what category to put him in for him to be number one. Because we're going to get a lot of shit if Willie's not number one, guaranteed.
I mean, who was the last 5'5"? You know, the last 5'5". That was right before you, right?
Keith Rivers.
Keith Rivers, yeah.
Yeah. No, I played with Keith.
Play with Keith. Okay, I couldn't remember if it was right before you or your time.
Yeah, Keith. I was there for 2 years with Keith, and when he got drafted to Cincinnati.
Yeah. I went to USC basketball game with Keith Rivers last year. It's great.
Nice. That's good. Yeah, definitely. Ryan, it's been fun. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. It's just opinion, you guys. I'm just a regular guy. It's just opinion, but it's been fun. I have to let them know it's just opinion because, like, there's so many greats and we can't get them all. But this will keep us occupied for a while, at least until the draft. No, draft's not until April. We'll figure something out. Doesn't matter. I enjoyed it. Hopefully we can get Jamal on here. Jamal will make it even better. So, always. Yeah. Definitely have fun. We'll do this again next week. We got to figure out what position. We'll let you guys know. Be on the lookout to vote for those people in the top position. This is the Bet Online Salute Detroit podcast. Thank you guys for joining in. Live free. Fight on.